Welcome to the fabulous Las Vegas Rotary Club. Our club continues to make a difference by teaching youth to succeed through literacy, education, and life skills development. My name is Michael Gordon, and I'm proud to serve as the 95th president of the greatest Rotary Club in the world. Our invocation leader today will be Anil Melnick.
Thank you. Two quick ones that I want to do. First one is a quick thought for this Sweethearts Day. You yourself, as much as anybody in the entire universe, deserve your love and affection. And then the second one is one of my favorites. Thousands of candles can be lighted from a single candle, and the life of the candle will not be shortened. Happiness never decreases by being shared.
Thank you. Very appropriate, especially today. And then our song leader is Arlene Serrois, who I had instructions for the first time ever.
Need a little piece of paper.
Yes, sir.
Just in case you forgot the words.
Okay, we're doing an old song today, but we're going to alternate between the men and the women. So on your tables are the words and your part. So if you're here with your sweetheart and you want to hold their hand, go ahead while we do this. Before we start, there are some people here today who have loved and lost. So let's take a moment to remember those. All right. We will start with the men, as you can see on your paper. And we will start with this note. Mm.
You guys, y'all ready? Here we go. You are my sunshine, my only sunshine.
You make me happy when skies are gray.
You'll never know, dear, how much I love you.
Please don't take my sunshine away.
Thank you. Oh, Arlene, or do you want to do the pledge? No? Do it.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I
Thank you. You may be seated. Our Sergeant at Arms today is Doug Grant. Are you ready to... You're going to be busy today, Doug. We have lots of guests. So, first off, Mr. Bob Warner, do we have any international visiting Rotarians? Okay. Well, it's our member, Annie, but she travels all over to Paris and Monaco, but welcome back, Annie. Any visiting Rotarians? Visiting Rotarians in the back there?
There we go. All right. Hello, fellow Rotarians. My name is Richard Moore, classification publisher from...
Closer.
From Reno, Maine. So, nice to be down here.
Thank you. Okay, and any other visiting Rotarians? Okay, I know we have a lot of guests. Oh, there is one more.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Tony Holmes. I'm with Anchorage International Rotary, just making my mind up where I want to make my new Rotary home. This is my third visit here, and I really appreciate the warm welcome. I think so. I think so.
Any other visiting Rotarians? And then I know we have lots of guests, so let's keep our applause till the end because we have to get... So Doug, it's up to you which side you want to start because we got to go through the whole room. So guests of Rotarians.
I have with me today my sweetheart, Major Cheryl, and I also have, I'm going to call her my sweetheart for today, Leslie Rogers. Why don't you stand up? Leslie Rogers used to be our PR lady for the Salvation Army, and she moved away, and her husband sadly passed away, and I'm re-recruiting her to come back to Vegas. So we're happy to say that. Hi, I've got my wonderful partner in love, life, and business, Brittany Melnick.
Doug, while you're there, yeah.
I've got my sweetheart, Audrey Davis, joining us.
Welcome.
Hi, I'm here today with my husband, Steve.
I'm here with my lovely wife, Diane. 53 years.
Nice. Over there.
Hi, I'm Dale Sprague. I'm here with my lovely wife for 21 years and business partner. I couldn't go through life without her.
Well, I can't compete with Bob Werner, but I have a Diane that I've known for 40 years, is now my Valentine, and hopefully she'll be joining our club soon. Diane Clary.
The side.
Randy Frost, Senior Active. I have two guests today. One, my son, Scott Frost, and his caregiver, Kate Reeves.
Good afternoon, everyone. I have my boss and my fiance, Becca, with me today.
Hello, everyone. I have my lovely wife, Michelle. We got married underwater 15 years ago in the Cayman Islands.
I have my husband, Michael, my favorite person in the whole wide world.
Good afternoon, everybody. I have my wife, Jane. We've been married 45 years now.
Hello, everyone. Randy Donald. I have my wife, Sally, former First Lady of 2012-2013, with me today. And later this year, we'll be married 25 years.
Hello, fellow Rotarians. I'm honored to have my sweetheart, Leslie Mujica, my social planning boss, and my sweetheart.
Good afternoon, everyone. I have my wife, Harriet, here, wife of 49 years.
Hi, I'm Carrie Gross. I have my husband of 16 years, officially tomorrow, here, Chuck Gross.
Hi, I'm Ginger Anderson, and I have as my guest today my wonderful husband, Dan.
I'm Brock Frazier, and I have my main squeeze of my love, Becky Miracle.
And I'd like to tell anybody that's interested, Brock is not, that at the airport they have a pop-up marriage license. And when I told him, I said no.
Wow. Normally guests don't out the members, but I like that.
Good afternoon. I'm Peter, and with me, my sweetheart of over 50 years, Pam.
President Michael and fellow Rotarians, I don't have a sweetheart with me, but I do have two great people. I have Judy Steele and Brian Miley from the Public Education Foundation, and we'll be doing a presentation a little bit later.
Good afternoon, Rotarians and guests. I'd like to introduce Chris Mallory. He's the Executive Director of the Raiders Foundation, and I'd like to thank them. Even though the football team's not going to be here for a couple more years, they're already getting very involved and generous in the Las Vegas community. So welcome, Chris.
Good afternoon, fellow Rotarians and guests. Past President Russ Swain here. I brought today, stand up, Mike, one of my best friends of 53 years, my buddy. He says 55, but I'm only 56, so that math doesn't work. 53 years we've been friends, and he's the owner of Silver State Overhead Door, Mr. Gary Kozel. And I guess I consider him my buddy, right?
My name is Rampur Viswanath, and I have a good friend visiting us today, and her name is Fion Chong, and Hong Kong Business Associates of Nevada. She establishes trade relations between Hong Kong, China, and the United States.
I'm Ted McAdam, and I'm back.
Yay!
I want to personally thank all of you for your expressions of concern, your prayers. You never know when you need friends until you need friends, and I am deeply, deeply touched. I'm here with my beautiful bride, Diana, 49 years married.
I'm here with the light of my life, Patricia, and I'm going to top all of you. 52 years for us, and beyond that, we met in the 6th grade.
Good afternoon, everybody. I am Joan Murdoch, and I have my best partner of several years, Ruth Jagosinski.
Welcome. Is that it? And then I would like to introduce my guest at the head table today is President-elect Jackie Thornhill, who moved to Lake Tahoe after her college graduation to work for the U.S. Forest Service as a firefighter. After that, she moved to Sparks, Nevada, and worked as a dispatcher and then as a patrol officer for the local PD. She then moved to San Diego to work as a sales rep in the scuba diving industry, and which led her to dives all over the world. Finally, she moved to Las Vegas in 1991 and to become a financial advisor and certified financial planner before selling her business in 2016 after 24 years. And joining her is my bride, Amanda, who just looks beautiful and radiant today. Thank you. So please join me in welcoming all our visiting Rotarians and guests.
President Michael, my wife is not able to be here today because she's just got out of rehab, but I beat all you guys, 58 years.
You know, these are good multipliers for later on in the meeting. So if you could take, Doug, the microphone to Janet Linder. I saw her to give us feedback on our party on Tuesday night.
Well, if you weren't there, you missed a very large time, and we had a lot of fun, and I'm sure our new members learned a lot, right? If nothing else, how to party. Okay.
Thank you. And then up to past President Jim Tucker. The Super Bowl happened this Sunday.
Boy, did it happen. I think we had more scoring in that game than any other in history. And Patriots lost it in the last few minutes. And the square I gave away to Bill Styron was the $1,000 square until they made a field goal and Ginger got it. Anyway, Ginger and Dan are the winners with Debbie Miller and Brock Frazier.
So we'll have the checks next week. So winners, be here next week. Then I would like to call to the front Major Randy Kinnaman and Eric, if you could come to the front too.
So we remember we ended up beating the Kiwanis in the canned food drive last year, and we hadn't had the chance yet to present that check to the Salvation Army. So from our club to you is a check for $7,656.60. Here you go. And a separate check for $625 for Meals for Vets. Okay, fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. So thank you for your work on that, Eric, and thank you, Major Randy, for your work in feeding our homeless locally. Then I would like to call to the front our Beckley principal, Shannon Brown, for her monthly update. And as she's coming to the front, I would also like to present her with a check for $1,000, which she will use at her school.
Thank you, fellow Rotarians. Just to give you guys a heads up, the last time we received a check, it was for our amazing science and social studies curriculum, helping to enhance that. There isn't a lot of materials and curriculum available for that, so we really have to use additional school funds to purchase those. So just this morning, we had a meeting to discuss what we were doing with our funds and how we were going to be utilizing that. So the grade levels are now determining if they want to get scholastic news or if they want to get time for kids to help bring that nationwide news into their classrooms and help them with their social studies and science curriculum. This additional $1,000 will help us to continue building our science curriculum and filling in the holes that we have with the new Nevada, with the new next generation science standards. So thank you so much. This is going to help our students so very much and move forward with all of their academic excellence in science. So thank you very much.
Thank you for all that you do, Shannon. Now I'd like to call to the front Jim Cole, President-elect Jim Cole, and Judy Steele and Brian Miley for another check presentation.
A award that we decided in the committee to the Public Education Foundation for $5,000.
We want to thank you very much. The foundation's been involved in helping improve public education for the last 26 years, and this will help us with our leadership programs. The last 6 years, we've been very involved in looking at good to great school administrators across the state, but specifically in Southern Nevada. We've graduated 150 such people who are now in schools looking at solving problems from a business point of view, looking at return on investment, looking at ways to solve problems away from the status quo and no longer being compliance workers. And we know that's important. We're also looking at good to great teachers and looking to help them do better in school and not consider maybe being an administrator or leaving the system, but helping them learn to be an advocate for new solutions from the classroom. So this will help us continue to evaluate and improve our programs. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for your tireless work, Judy and Brian. We know you guys do it all the time. And then, just so that all the sweethearts are aware and the Rotarians who weren't here last week, we officially launched the Tiberti Fellowship for our local foundation. We have our 95th birthday party. All the sweethearts, if your spouse doesn't tell you, We have a 95th birthday party coming up on April 5th, so they should bring you to that birthday party. And we are going to unveil our inaugural class of Tiberti Fellows. So if you want more information on Tiberti Fellowship, please see Dan Adamson, Dan, wave, Dan Adamson, or past President Randy Campanelli, or Sean Norda, or myself. Now I'm going to call to the front President-elect Jackie Thornhill.
Hi, everyone. I just wanted to detail everyone about what my committees have been doing and what we're going to be doing. First of all, I'd just like to tell you what's going on with Wetzel, since all of you know that I chair that committee. We have 2 more Wetzel-based ceremonies left in Michael's year. Next one coming up on March the 8th, and the final one coming up on June 7th. And I did apply for a contribution from NV Energy called the Power of Good, and that's going to be for $15,000 divided amongst 3 potential winners. Just so you know how that works, it's not a part of their regular foundation. They have a group that's going to decide who will be the finalists there based on some information that I gave them describing the Wetzel. And what will happen if we are among the finalists, and we'll find that out in early March, it's going to be put out to a vote to the general public. So what we're going to need to do is mount a social media campaign with our social media accounts that we have and share, and get people out in the general public to vote for us so that we have additional money to give to our Wetzel participants and winners out at Nellis, which is something that you know near and dear to all of our hearts here. Second thing we're doing is a vocational project, of which Randy Donald is the chair of that committee. So we're going to put on a networking social, I should say, in March, and he'll have more details on that very soon. Open World, Melanie Muldowney did do an update on that when she was here a couple of weeks ago. It's been on hold for a couple of years, but it looks like we may be able to think about doing something this year. She also did a detail on the international grants. We did spend some of our budget on a medical training project in Nicaragua this year. The scholarships, we are on the list for UNLV's Honor Society, so we're looking to get some participants there. And lastly, the Paul Harris, and we've been very active doing Paul Harris. You know, we have a club point smash going on. Just to remind you of that, we have 5 people that have applied so far. So if you need to know where you are at this point, just see myself or Sean, and we'll give you exactly where you are and how much you need to come up with and how much the club will match so that you can get your first Paul Harris or move to the next level. And currently now, we do have a Paul Harris presentation today, and a very special one. So for that, I'd like to call Randy Frost to the front, please. Dr. Randy Frost.
That guy in the back from Reno, Maine. Say hello to the people back in Reno for me. Okay, great. It gives me a great pleasure to present this to my son today, Scott Allen Frost. Scott was up here. His mother said, "Who cares about a Paul Harris fellow?" I said, "Well, Scott at least knows what it is, if nobody else does." So Scott currently has 3 restaurants here in town. If you haven't asked me for a free margarita card to his Husong restaurants, see me. And then he also has Slice of Vegas. Scott Frost.
No, you can do it. Do you want to say something?
Yeah, sure. I grew up with Rotary. My dad started dragging me to their Christmas programs when I was probably 8 or 9, 10, myself and my older brother. And then I joined Rotary, I was probably 29, not right out of college, but and was an active member. Loved this organization. I'm really, really impressed every time I come at how generous you all are, how selfless you are with your time, and keep up the great work. And thank you very much, Dad. I love you.
Thank you, guys. And now I'm going to call to the front Janet Linder and Rosalie Hedrick, the ladies who were in charge of the wine on Tuesday night. That's how we get business done here at Rotary, through lots of wine, right?
Yep, absolutely. Okay, everyone. We have two people to induct today who are at our orientation meeting, and that is Carrie and Tina. So could both of you please come up and, or was it Tina? I'm sorry, let me ask.
Tina.
Okay. Carrie. Yeah, what about Adam? Oh, okay. I'm sorry, I apologize. A little off track. Okay, so we'd like to read to you our little, oh, there you are. Yeah. Okay, all right, we're ready. Okay, so we'd like to read to you our welcome to our Rotary Club. So, fellow Rotarians and honored guests, on behalf of the Rotary Club of Las Vegas, it is my privilege to induct a new member today, actually members. So, please allow me to introduce Tina and Carrie. You have been invited to the membership, and our Rotary has accepted you as a person of good character, high ethical standards, a person who has the heart of service and will represent our club in the Las Vegas and Rotary communities. We encourage you to learn all about Rotary and to actively participate in the opportunities that our club has to serve those in need. Our Rotary motto, service above self, is the essence of gathering. The members of our Rotary are people who believe that world understanding and peace can be improved through people united in the cause of service. Today, you are one of those people. We extend to each of you a sincere and hearty welcome to the Las Vegas Rotary Club and to the Worldwide Fellowship of Rotary International. Please rise and welcome our newest Rotarians to our family. So, sure.
Thank you, guys. Welcome again. Welcome again. Thank you.
Welcome aboard.
Thank you. So as they take the pictures, please enjoy a quick 4 minutes for lunch and fellowship.
Sounds like fun. Yeah, I think it will be. My Rotary Club up there has already got me listed things to do. Yeah. We're having our foundation auction tomorrow. And one of the things that my friend and I donate is the English afternoon tea for 8-10 people home with the we usually manage to do about 3 of those and raise about $1,000 for our students. And they're fun. Yeah, they're fun because you know all these people through Rotary and some socially, and then you get some people they're not just involved, but when they do the auction thing, then you get to go meet them on their turf. It changes the dynamic of things quite a bit.
Got a 1:30 conference call. Oh, really?
magic touch. Okay. Yeah, put that on. Yeah.
Maybe. Carlos.
Carlos. Carlitos. Una batería, por please.
Okay, well, welcome back. If you ever doubt, and everybody knows Sean Noorda, right? Everybody. If you ever doubt Sean Noorda's efficiency, between the time that I said the checks will be ready next week for the Super Bowl board, and now we have the checks. So, well done, Sean. So I'm gonna invite past President Jim Tucker to the front to make some people happy.
Okay, Brock and Dan and Ginger Anderson, could you come up to the front? You know, some of these people, they're reluctant to buy into the Super Bowl board. But when you can buy 2 tickets and win them both, Ginger, she's always a fan and she always supports our foundation. So thank you, Ginger. Here's a check for $1,000 for yourself and another $500 to your husband. And whether he gets it or not. And Brock, he was the first one to win, but he took Michelle's square. She was 3-0. Then it went to 3-9. There you are, Brock. Oh, the other part is to Deborah Miller. That's Gary Miller's wife. Oh, yeah. And the $2,500 that goes to our board here. So we just raised that up close to the $2 million mark.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for participating. Then I'm going to actually invite Anil Melnick to the front while we figure out the microphone to talk to us a little more about our 95th birthday party.
Thanks, Michael. Yeah, we're having a wonderful 95th anniversary celebration for the club. And of course, we are the oldest club in Las Vegas, so I think that's really significant. It's going to be right here at Lowry's at 6 p.m. on April 5th. And Carolyn Goodman is going to be our main speaker that night. Thank you very much to Carolyn Sparks for arranging that. And then we're also going to have the Rotary director. Thank you. I wanted to get the title correct. The Rotary director, Rotary International director here that night as well. So it's a night not to be missed. We're also going to be getting some great artifacts from the history of the club, from the library where they're stored, and they'll be available for people to look at up close and handle. So. And there's a sign-up sheet in the green book, so please sign up so we get an accurate guest count for that night. And I really hope that I see everyone there. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Anil. Thank you for putting that together.
Oh, and one final note. We did have someone come forward to do some sponsorship of wine that night. We do need more. So if there's anyone who can help, and if people are either, I know that people sometimes have connections where they make their own wine through vineyards, or they have private collections that they might want to share with the club. That would be, we'd be very grateful for any donations that people want to make. Otherwise, alcohol will be available for purchase that night, but we are able to bring some in if people donate that. Thanks.
So Anil's message is free alcohol. Make sure we have free alcohol. Doug, if you could take the microphone to Jim Hunt, past president Jim Hunt, for an announcement about our St. Patty's Day social.
Thank you very much, President Michael. Yeah, for those of you who joined us last year, it was so much fun at Tom and Jane Krob's house during St. Patrick's Day weekend. We're going to do it again. We had about 50 or 60 people there last year. It was a great party. And this year it falls on the eve of St. Patty's Day, so we're even better. We'll kick off the weekend on Friday night at 6 o'clock. Let's pause and smile. Okay, so the family of Rotary will be having wine tasting again. And we ask if you're going to come that for all of the cigar smokers, of course, bring 3 cigars, 1 to smoke, 1 for the troops that we send out to the troops, and 1 for the cigar exchange. It's a whopping $10 per person, and we will have a great party. It should be wonderful on a Friday night on the 15th hole of TPC at Tom and Jane Chrome's house. Join us.
Thank you guys for always hosting. If you could take the microphone to past President Karen Wisenant to talk about our German soccer team.
The Germans are coming next week. They actually fly to LA tomorrow, and then they'll be coming here to Las Vegas on Thursday. We'll have them for the weekend. And well, thank you to all the host families that are hosting for them. If you would like to come and watch some of the soccer games, they are an incredible team. They're a professional soccer team, and the first game will be on Saturday morning at Betty Wilson, and they play against, let's see here. I knew this. Somebody. I lost it on my list. Anyway, we'd love to have more of the club participate in just watching the games. Thank you.
Thank you. And then you guys all saw the email invitation that went out from Kim Neone and the 25 Club. There is a social next Wednesday, Valentine's Day, at Tommy Bahamas from 5 to 9 p.m. And then if you could take the microphone to Marie Walsh to talk about our Breakfast with Books.
Thank you, Michael. Breakfast with Books is this Tuesday on the 13th of February. A lot of people have signed up, and I'd like to say thank you for that, and would like anyone that would like to join us. We'd really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. And I know we're running out of time. We've got to get our speaker, but we quickly have to raise just a little bit of money. So while you're standing right there, can you take the microphone to one of our newest members, Adam Homey, and let him explain. Apparently, Adam, you know we have a $2 million goal here that we're close to reaching, right?
Yes.
And a little birdie told me that you have a #1 best-selling book on Amazon?
Well, I don't know about the #1 best-selling book on all of Amazon, but I'm very excited to announce that last Friday we launched a book called Groundhog Day is an Event, Not a Business Strategy. To make it very simple, think about many of you are business owners, many of you work for companies or what have you, and it seems like you attempt to grow, you attempt to modify the business, you attempt to increase your profits, enter new markets, what have you, but it's like you keep dealing with the same issues, like it's Groundhog Day over and over again. So the message is we look at what's sort of burrowed deep beneath your business and how to unearth that so that the unearthed soil can help you grow the greener grass on your side of the fence. We deal with several different areas of business. One of my favorites is semantics.
Whoa. This sounds like a pitch now. I mean, we just wanted some money.
I thought you wanted to have me tell me about the book here. Well, it's actually done, Michael. I mean, your timing was so good. It's like we planned it myself. Like, you busted me a little bit. I just wanted to say that's basically what it's about. So it was #1 in 3 countries in the category of semantics. So, yes.
Well, thank you for your $95 donation to our foundation.
Sure.
Thank you, Adam.
You got it. $95?
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, and let's move on quickly to our raffle drawing. So for the drawing, I don't know, the total is in the wheel. The number is 848790. 790. All the way in the back. Pam Smallis, come on up. She got the Joker. Pam just won half of $12.94. So happy Valentine's Day. I doubt that Sean will get you the check right now, but she'll be in touch with your money soon. We'll give it to Pete. I don't know if he's going to give it to you, but yes. So congratulations. And then for the Lowry Bucks, the number is 848-810. 810. 810. Anybody? Oh. Oh, wait. Is it Bob? Oh. Did I say that out loud?
I did not give you those cigars.
Oh.
He gave them to you.
Bob is complaining about his fine from last week about the chocolate cigars, and he said he didn't give it to me. So we'll correct it in the wheel for you. But here is your $50 in Larry Bucks.
Who ate it?
We'll give it away. So, but there was still one missing. Either way. So to introduce, yes.
Our newest member is asking for a moment of our time.
On behalf of AirTech Gases, my wife Carrie and I own the company. We'd like to make a donation today, $100 towards the board.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Wow, great job, membership committee. We need more members like that. So to introduce our speaker, I would like to call to the front Sidra Kane.
Thank you, Michael. Well, our speaker today is Brian Ruff, and I've known Brian since his days in radio, or his radio days, in the 80s when I was an ad agency media buyer, and he quickly became one of my favorite radio reps and a friend. And he is a multi-talented individual. He's got an enviable, sharp, and quick wit, which I imagine is a great part of why he's become such a successful author. So I am very happy to introduce Brian Ruff.
That's a lot of pressure. I know. So my wife couldn't make it today. We've been married 37 years. So I just wanted to squeeze that in and say that since she's not here, and I've known you 30-something years, would you be my sweetheart for the next half hour? All right. That's what I just wanted to get an aw. So I need two favors. One is I could tend to go on, and I know nobody wants that. So maybe in about 20 minutes, if somebody up front could kind of go like 5, you know. And then also, please remind me, because I've got my newest book, The House Always Wins. That's my last plug, because I know it'll cost me money. I'm going to give away 2 copies. So anyway, let me pull out my ad-libs. So I've always been a writer. Even when I was a little kid, it's lucky for me because it's the only thing I'm good at. You think I'm kidding, I'm not. And I've been able to earn a living at it my entire life. But there's a difference between being a writer and an author. So Sid and I, for many, many years, were in the same business. I owned an ad agency, and you owned an ad agency. And I've stayed in that, so I have a day job, because even though I'm a marginally, well, no, I would say I've sold about 50,000 books total, so I'd say I'm somewhat successful. I'm not Rowling or, Grisham or those people. So I still need my day job, and I have an advertising and marketing firm. And as I say, at first when I got into writing and people paid me for it, it really tickled me because it's like, wow, I do this and they're giving me money. But when I finally hit my early to mid-40s, it stopped being quite that satisfying. And I got an itch, and that happens a lot. Midlife, I always say that writing is how I handled my midlife crisis, because it was safer than a Harley, and cheaper than a divorce. So that's the last reference to my wife this afternoon. I decided, because a lot of writers, and we have another professional author I saw in the room, so we decide we want to try our hand at something longer than a 60-second TV commercial. So I decided I was going to write a Vegas novel. I'd already been here from Southern California for about 20 years. And by Vegas standards, you're a long timer at that point. And I'd been paying attention, and I fell in love with my adopted city. And writers never leave the house without this. I've tried the recording, and it doesn't work for me. So I've filled up probably thousands of these things over the years. And that's where you get your best material. I always say that if people in the booth at the restaurant next to me knew I was a writer, they'd be more careful about what they say. Because they can give you, without even realizing it, pages and pages of dialogue or a whole idea for a book. So, and I was irritated too. That's always a good impetus, right? I was irritated because all the books that I read about Vegas and the movies that I saw got it wrong. They were really superficial. It was all the strip, the strip, the strip. People actually live here. And I was reading a book by a very famous, very accomplished author, whose name I will not mention unless you give me $1. And I'm reading, and he talks, it's a book that takes place in Vegas, and he talks about the on-ramp to Maryland Parkway. And it's like, really? Did you come here? Did your editor come here? So, and that'll take you out of the story. I didn't want to be that guy. My goal was pretty lofty. I wanted to establish a brand as the writer who's associated with Las Vegas, the same way that anybody ever read Carl Hiaasen, for example. I love Hiaasen, and Hiaasen is associated with Miami and South Florida. Elmore Leonard, who passed recently, who's really my writing hero, put most of his scenes in Detroit and surrounding areas. So I wanted to be that guy for Vegas who lets visitors understand what we're really about and lets locals kind of smile and go, yeah, that's my town. That's my town. So I had that idea, but then what do you write about? Well, people always say, where do you get your ideas? So you get them from real life. Does anybody remember a weekly alternative newspaper, which I always got a kick out of, called Las Vegas City Life? So it was really good. But it had these really kind of interesting, quirky ads in the back all the time, and they would run week after week because I think they were cheap. And it was kind of an alternative weekly. So I used to see this ad, and it said, I will bring you luck at dice, call Julie. And I saw it week after week, and I thought, well, she must be making a little money. She must be finding people to take her up on her offer, or else she wouldn't keep running this darned ad. And I thought, this is really Vegas. Who else is going to run an ad like that, and who's going to find somebody who's, desperate or naive enough to go out gambling with Julie? Me. That's who did it. So I called her up, and I had a little bankroll, and I wanted to see if maybe she could become a character in my book. So I didn't tell her that because I didn't want her to be self-conscious. So I just was playing Jim Rockford, undercover. And she picked the treasure island, and she worked. It was like 20% of your winnings, but generously, if you lost, you didn't owe her anything. And she was like this kooky ex-hippie, really fun. And what she did is she had like chants and charms and beads and different things she would do. And she told me maybe it wasn't the best time because Mercury was in retrograde. And I still don't know what that means. And so I lost my whole bankroll of a couple $100 in like 10 minutes. But it was worth it because it was research. And now I've got the seed for my first novel, Dice Angel, also based on a really good friend of mine who owns a bar and grill, the legendary Johnny Max in Henderson, world's greatest wings and pizza. He sends me $1 also. Nobody knows Johnny Max. He's been there since '83. So, and he's a character. and he's a great restaurateur. So I combined the two. A guy who owns a bar and grill. I moved it to Vegas, and he gets in some financial trouble through no fault of his own, and he has nowhere to turn, and he hooks up with the Dice Angel. And then, hilarity ensues, hopefully. So that book took me a couple of years to get it to market, and it did really well. And I'm thinking, wow, this is easy. Well, it's not easy. So I got the bug, and then a couple of years later, I wrote a book, not a sequel, called Money Shot. And I just liked the title because it had nothing to do with, what you think it has to do with. And I thought it would sell really well. It's a sports book, and it's about any sports fans who ever watch these fans get picked to shoot a ball or slap a hockey puck or throw a football through a car window and you win $1 million or you win the car or whatever. So I kind of watched way too much sports in my life, and I want that time back, But I thought, all right, so I'll write a book about it. And I wrote the book, and it kind of tanked. And I learned too late that people who love sports, because I thought, there's 100 million people in this country that love sports. They'll all buy this book. Well, they don't read. I should have looked that up. I'm a marketing guy. I should have looked that up first. But, for me, it's nice to make money, right? It's nice to be number one in, where are you number one? In 3 countries. But it's also, you have something to say. That's why writers mostly write, I think. Because there are 1,000 easier ways to make money. So it's got to be a labor of love. You've got to be a storyteller, and you want to tell your story. Well, after Money Shot came out, we got hit with a little something called the Great Recession, and you may remember that. And I was not able to write for a while because I had to go back to work more than full-time and help save my business. So in the meantime, we had moved into, this is right before the crash, we had moved into an old fixer-upper house. My wife is a realtor. And on St. Louis, 1701 East St. Louis, 6,700 square feet. We picked it up for less than a song because it was in horrible, horrible shape. Had like an indoor-outdoor pool. You could swim in from the backyard into the master bedroom. The walk-in closet was larger than my first efficiency apartment when I moved to Vegas in 1981. And we brought that house back to life. We rehabbed it over 3 years. And while we were doing that, I always felt like it was haunted. Not in a bad way, not in a scary way, but like, strange noises, which is going to happen in an old house. But also, weird electrical stuff. My wife would say, I thought I told you to turn off the light. I did turn off the light. The lights would flicker. They'd go on and off. The air conditioning would come on when it wasn't supposed to come on. And, strange temperature changes. Walking through the hall, you were like making weather in the hall. And on and on and on. Well, does that mean it's haunted? Probably not. But that's not a story, right? But if you decide, and by the way, it had been owned by a guy named Jack Eglash. Do you know that name? Jack? Who was Jack Eglash? Well, you're close, same industry. He was the orchestra leader for many, many years at the Old Sahara, when the Old Sahara was a big deal. And that house had been a party house at one time. It had, and these are some things that we restored also. It had like a full working soda fountain, and you could push a button in the island in the kitchen and a blender, one of the old kind with the I don't forget what you call this, but anyway, it would pop up, and then it had all kinds of state-of-the-art stuff from like 1960. And I can remember one day we weren't even looking. There were rooms we'd never been in really, and there were drawers we'd never opened. And my wife finally opens a drawer, and she lets out a shriek. I said, What? She says, I found all the original instruction manuals for all this stuff that we don't know how to work, including something called a phaser cooktop, which we could never figure out because it never gets hot, but it only works with a certain type of pots and pans. It's amazing. So we brought that house back to life, and I had this idea from it. Why don't I write, I've never seen a Vegas ghost story. So that's what I decided to do. But I kind of had to put it on hold while, the economy fixed itself, sort of. And when things finally turned around, I was traveling a lot, and so most of this book I wrote in airports, because that's wasted time, right? Airports, planes, nobody's bothering you, and in hotel rooms and stuff like that. And over a couple of years, I had the first manuscript. It's not that interesting to write a haunted house book based on an orchestra leader. He's a great guy. A lot of cool people had been in that house, everybody from Elvis to, because we connected with his grown kids. It's a long story, I don't have time. But the Rat Pack and Elvis and Dangerfield and Rickles and Cosby back when he was funny and on and on and on had been in that house. And so I thought, that's cool. But what if the ghost was a Vegas mobster? Now you got something kind of interesting. So then I kind of moved into the Las Vegas Mob Museum to do research. And anybody ever hear of a old-time mob guy named Mo Dalitz? Okay, you probably started this club for all I know. So Mo Dalitz is that quintessential, fantastic Vegas reinvention story that we're known for, which is he was a racketeer back in Cleveland and made a boatload of money during the Great Depression and Prohibition, and then when things got way hot for him, he got recruited to come out here and be in the casino business. But he also, as so often happens, like with Benny Binion and others, he became a stand-up guy, and he started a legitimate construction company, as far as I know. And his construction company in the 60s built iconic things that we did not have. We did not have an actual hospital. Mo Dalitz's construction company built Sunrise. We didn't have a mall. We had Wonder World. And his construction company built the Boulevard Mall, and on and on and on. So we owe a lot, and he got, I think he got Rotarian of the Year, seriously. He was other clubs, and he got the key to the city, and he became a very respected, valuable member of the Las Vegas community. But he still had, some nefarious background and some mob connections, and you never totally get rid of those, and or so I've been told. And so I thought I'll base the guy on him, and maybe a little bit on Meyer Lansky because he was good with money. And so the story is essentially a young woman from a small town in Michigan who falls in love with a traveling musician and overnight decides to shake up her life. She makes this decision in 24 hours to move to Las Vegas. I like that idea because it gave me a chance to look at our town through fresh eyes. So now she's a newcomer. The guy that she marries almost overnight has lived here a long time. He's a bass player in a local band. And so he's kind of schooling her on Vegas stuff. And, for example, when she moves in the middle of summer and she can't believe it's 99 in the middle of the night and she's freaking out and she's thirsty all the time. She thinks she has diabetes because, she looks it up on WebMD and they're thirsty all the time. And then she's getting bloody noses, so she thinks she has leukemia. So on the way to Vegas, he tells her the three most important rules of survival. One, it's Nevada, not Nevada. Keep her out of a lot of trouble, right? Secondly, never play video poker at the car wash. And third, stay off Eastern Avenue, especially where my office is, which is Anthem. So that's the impetus of that story, but now you need conflict, right? Well, the house that we lived in and the house in the book is very close to the stratosphere. And so I thought, what if the owner of the stratosphere, but I changed the name to avoid lawsuits and things like that, so I don't even know who owns it now, but I invented a guy, a casino owner named Bob Pikowski, and he calls it Pikes Peak, Pikowski, Pikes Peak, and he wants that whole street because he wants to expand his parking. And so he offers everybody on St. Louis and Okie and that whole area a lot of money to move. This is based on real stuff. We were just talking about Steve Wynn. He had that one last holdout, when he was building the Mirage. So a lady wouldn't sell her house, and she wanted to die in that house, and they wound up building the whole parking lot around her house. And, you know, she hung in there for a good long time. So God bless her. So it was kind of that. And what winds up happening is that, without giving away too much, that she loves this house. They rehabbed it. She and a Vietnam vet across the street. I got 10 minutes? Really? Wow. Okay. Good. I'll do 3, and then I'll do Q&A, stuff like that. But they're the last holdouts. And now Pikowski and his machines start playing really dirty. And by this time, the ghost in the house, ex-mobster, has shown himself to Anna, our protagonist, and he's giving her tips on how to fight City Hall. And so there's your story. And then what happens? Hilarity ensues. No. So again, I try to write from a local perspective. I want people to understand the city that my adopted home that I've learned to love over the last 37 years. Warts and all. Because I think even those of us, you know, born and raised, whatever, we have a love-hate relationship. I mean, any town that you live in, you know, familiarity breeds contempt. I don't have contempt, but there are plenty of times when I'm stuck, like on Eastern Avenue, where I'm saying things in the car that I can't say here. So that's the story. I'm happy to open it up to questions. It's here. You can charge me more. It's available on Amazon, at all Barnes & Noble retailers, and wherever fine books are sold. How'd I do? So can we do some Q&A? Great. Uh-oh.
True Rotary fashion, Tony Kern steps up.
Hi there. In Dice Angel, you say it's a quirky mystery. Can you tell us something we might not know about Las Vegas?
Wow, that's a really, really good one. You know, it's funny. I've never been stumped before, and I've done a lot of talks because marketing books. I'm stalling here. Marketing books is a very grassroots type of a thing, right? And you do a lot of talks, and it's a good thing that I enjoy it. But something that, how long have you been here? That way I can. 20. Okay, so I got to tell you something that you might not have. When I came to town in 81, there was not a good deli anywhere to be had. That's the one thing that Dalitz didn't build, was a good delicatessen. The only one that we could find was Foxy's, and it blew. So, I don't know. If I think of something better, which I will on a car ride back to my office, on Eastern, I'll give you, now I know it's 17 different ways to get back to my office. Give me your card, and I'll drop you a line. Okay? Good one. Good question.
Just want to first say you've probably got the foremost authority on Mo Dalitz sitting about 3 feet from you there with Lloyd Sauter right there.
I need to talk to you.
He can give you a whole gaggle of books, I'm sure.
All right.
But you never mentioned what you ended up doing with the house. You still have it? You sell it? What
no,
did it do?
we flipped it. We flipped it in the mid 2000s, luckily ahead of the crash. And sadly, and now, unfortunately, the book is really the tribute to the house, but the guy we sold it to defaulted. It went back to the bank, and in 2014, it burnt to the ground. I know, and they think the theory is that the ghost. The theory is that squatters were living in it and barbecuing or something, whatever squatters do, and so it's really sad. There are pictures on the web, and there's Tom Hawley was nice, from TV3 was nice enough to do a segment on it, and you can go to YouTube and find it. It was just a couple months ago, and he's got a whole history, including pictures and video, because he got a hold of the son, Eglash's son, also. So there are memories. That's all we've got. Boy, it's a long walk.
I need the steps.
Hi, thanks for coming and speaking to us today. I've got two questions for you. The first one's pretty simple. How happy are you that the Philadelphia Eagles are world champions?
You know, I couldn't be happier because I'm an underdog guy.
Yep.
So I always root for I didn't have a dog in that fight, but enough with New England already.
My real question for you is,
Sorry.
do you have an idea that you're currently working on for your next book? Do you have something in mind that is kind of percolating around?
Well, yeah, and thank you for asking that. The thing with writing is you always have more ideas than you have time and energy and everything else to do. After all these years, I think I've got a viable idea for a sequel to Dice Angel. I actually had a lot of people ask for that, like 2. No, it was actually a lot. But I didn't want to put one out there just to put it out there. But now I've got one I can get excited about. And to me, that's the key to writing, is you want to get something, because when you hit that wall halfway through your 75,000 or 80,000 words, it's really attractive to just say, it's like, what I imagine running a marathon would be. So hopefully I answered that.
Yeah,
That's probably my next project.
Oh, I just have a comment, not a question. You're talking about City Life magazine?
Yes.
I used to read that, and I remember vividly one of the personals in the back that said, single white female interested in Christian fellowship and Polaroid photography.
And that could have been that book instead. I had a choice between those two. I think I actually remember that.
How about writing a book about the most famous florist in Las Vegas?
I think that's going to cost you money.
I unfortunately had to sell it to a national company and they went bankrupt, but my reputation was the best in town. Started in 1973 and finally died in 2000.
And okay, I'm going to get in trouble here too. What was the name of your company? Oh, I know that one. Everybody knows that. Real quick, so the unintended consequences, good things. So my marketing firm is now, because of me writing, we help other authors get their books to market. And we've been doing a lot of memoirs, including ghostwriting. There's a lot of and maybe this guy's one of them. But there's a lot of interesting people in this town that have an amazing story to tell. They just don't know how. So this has branched into a whole other business for me, which is fun. I'm learning a lot. I used up my time. Can I give away these books real quick? Yes. Okay. So I've got a lot of local color in these books, and I've got a couple of restaurants that are real places that I put scenes into. And so I'm going to give you a series of like clues. They're going to be really easy, and the first hand that I see with the right answer gets a book. So the first one is on the north end of the strip. It's been there since the early 70s. What? I'm sorry? No. So close. Yeah, holy cow. I know, this is a good crowd. Congratulations. Good one. And I do a lot of restaurant stuff because I don't look like it, but I eat a lot. So the second one has been there since the early 60s. It's downtown. Here's the giveaway. Hugo's. I didn't even get to the gimme one that it's in a basement. Wow, they're good. See, I told you that'd be fast. Congratulations. All right. And thank you all. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Don't leave yet. Thank you, Brian. So thank you for coming to speak to us today. We would like to present you with our Share What You Can award, where we will present a hot meal to a homeless vet in your name.
That is awesome. And this is going up on my wall.
So just pause and smile for the photo here.
I get to look taller. There we go. We good?
Yes. Thank you. And then before you leave, everybody, there is a Valentine on your way out. Thank you to the Salvation Army. And today, Rotary is like family. Spending time over a meal is often the recipe for success. Now, go forth and make a difference.